And yeah, it's what I've done all my life and what I'll probably do till the day I'm no more. For the management or that conservancy, so they'll come up with a roster system and they'll say, listen, yeah, elephant goes to village number 2. Village number 3 gets a buffalo because there are not so many people in there. So they've got a good system working for them. And sure enough, this cat came bolting out, and it grabbed hold of the tracker first, and then it grabbed hold of my leg.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Safari Trails. Today, I'm very excited to have a special guest on. We've been trying to coordinate this for a little bit. Time zone change is different. Being busy with safaris has been hard to coordinate, but we finally got some time. And guys, today I have Divan Labuschange. I'm probably butchered the last name, but he has a safari company based in primarily Namibia, and then he goes other places as well. So we're going to dive into that. But Divan, let's just have you kind of break it down, who you are, and how you got started in hunting, and then we'll kind of dive into the company aspects here after that.
Yeah, Mackenzie, thank you for having me. It's been a while since we talk about everything, try to get the podcast running, and we finally here. So yeah, Mackenzie, I grew up in Namibia, on a family ranch, eastern Namibia. My dad has been a rancher all his life, from my father's side. From my mother's side, I've been born into the hunting industry, So my great granddad, Alan Gibson Chapman, was a big game hunter, all over Africa, mainly in Angola, places like that. So yeah, I think as from a little child, we've been growing up on the farm, we've been hunting all our lives, and I think that's where it all started. Growing up in Namibia with a population of about 2.4 million people only is it's a great privilege, and we've got so much space to actually hunt here. It's incredible, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, you guys, I mean, even though it's pretty low population, the state I live in has still less than that. But I kind of correlate that to growing up in a place where there's not a ton of people and there's a lot more free roam going on.
Yeah,
And so we actually hunted with some of your family in the Caprivi back in 2016. Um,
yeah,
the Chapmans, right? Is that your uncle?
yeah. It's quite a long way around, but yeah, we family. Yeah, James and Christine Chapman.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, great people, great people. Um,
yeah, yeah.
so let's dive into it. What got you into, obviously that side of the family is what got the hunting side of things into it. So what made you, did you become a PH first, work for somebody else? Like what got you to where you are today?
Yeah, so obviously I finished high school. I did my high school in South Africa, and I always wanted to hunt. That's straight off the bat. I just said I don't want to go to university. I just want to go straight into hunting. I finished high school back in what was it 2007, and I came back to Namibia, and I started doing apprenticeship, but actually not in Namibia. I did most of it in Botswana, together with Arthur Vickerman and Graham Pollock of Safaris Bound Botswana. And what an awesome time! I absolutely fell in love with not only Botswana but the people, the wildlife, the great big open areas, and yeah, it's what I've done all my life and what I'll probably do till the day I'm no more.
So so you started out doing your apprenticeship for them, and then did you go straight into your own business after that, or did you work anywhere else, or was it just straight to doing your own thing after
No,
your
so
apprenticeship with them?
I think for every young PH, there's it's steps you need to climb, and I've worked for a couple of outfits and gained some great experience in some good places, especially up north in northern Namibia in the Caprivi and the Babwata areas, where I got a lot of experience hunting for outfit there. And recently, I've started my own company back up, and yeah, we're doing hunts from the private ranch here for mostly plains game and leopard, and then obviously all the big game stuff we kind of focus around the Caprivi strip up from from Bubwata west side all the way up to the Chobe side, which is a great part of Namibia and a beautiful area, and you've been there yourself. Yeah, and then obviously Botswana is also a big part of my business. I take quite a few clients into Botswana for elephant, especially bigger elephant, big tuskers. I believe that's the place to go.
Do you uh do you enjoy buffalo or elephant hunting more? That's my question for you.
Oh boy, I kind of like all dangerous game, but if I have to single out one, um, I'd probably go for buffalo, just because I think it's the hunt, the most classic African dangerous game hunt one can have, and 90% of the people always come back for buffalo. You do get people that get hooked onto elephant or anything else, but it feels to me like buffalo is the thing. And hunting dagga boys, tracking dagga boys is just is something else. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I agree. Elephant hunting can be very frustrating. I feel like buffalo hunting, especially after like your first one, it's a lot of work on the tracking side, but it's not as like frustrating as the elephant because it's I don't know, to me
Yeah.
it's like the elephant because my elephant situation took forever, but
Mm.
I enjoy buffalo hunting. Again, I like all dangerous game like you. So let's dive into what you kind of do primarily at your home ranch there. We can kind of go over like the species you guys take, the typical safari days. Kind of let's break that down for folks is like because you're in Namibia and what a lot of people like first off what I want to hit on is a lot of people don't realize there's different key species between Namibia and South Africa and South Africa and Namibia to me are like the stepping stone into safari hunting because it's like the gateway to it because there's a lot more price affordable and just easier access because you can get to Windhoek easier and Johannesburg a lot easier than you can remote places like Cameroon and even Tanzania. So, well, let's dive into some of that for you as far as your
Yeah.
home base goes.
Yeah, to kick it off, I think Namibia is probably one of the most easiest countries to get into. With rifles, without rifles, it's a very friendly country. It's a clean country. It's safe, and I believe it's one of the great countries to kick off, like you said, to kick off your hunting experience. So yeah, we kind of based on the eastern part of Namibia, very close to the Botswana border, the start of the Kalahari. I've got about altogether about a 50,000 acres which I hunt around me. Obviously, it doesn't all belong to us, but we sit on about 15,000 acres, and we've got everything from kudu. You've got most of the plains game that's available in South Africa. We've got here, which is a great thing, And some parts of my hunting area is like completely it's open. It's a low fence, so animals can go as they like. We call them migrating animals, So kudus will come and go. We've got plenty of red hartebeest, oryx, springbuck, obviously warthog and steenbok duck. Those smaller ones, they go wherever they were like. So yeah, and then I've got high fenced areas as well where you've got all the other species that doesn't move around freely here. But yeah, all in all, it's good, and we've got so much space to work with here. It's incredible.
What would be like if someone was going to come and do like their first plains game hunt? What would be like the time frame that you would say? Would it be 7, 10 days? Like, how would you help someone plan their first trip to Namibia?
Yeah, I think 7 to 10 days is the normal, normal time, and I like it, and it's a great, it's enough time for you to, really to get to see the areas every day. You'll be hunting in a different area, and yeah, and as far as time goes, I like the winter months much more. End of April, May, June, July, August is it's just phenomenal, especially in the rut, especially hunting kudu here in our areas where they free. And the rut is just it's just phenomenal. Hunting kudu in places like this is so many, and it's just a privilege, man.
Yeah, definitely. Let me ask you this. For like where you're located, let's say a family wants to come. Is there like, because families want to add like maybe a park visit or something to their hunt. What would you have like close to you that you would say this is something that someone needs to go see? Because there's lots of cool stuff to see in Namibia. I just want to know what you would
Oh, yeah.
suggest as being close.
Yeah, so we actually have quite a few hunters this year coming in for like a 7 or 10 day hunt. I just finished one with a great guy from Southern California, and him and his girlfriend is just on a 10 day safari out north in Namibia. They'll go all the way down to Swakop to Sossusvlei. So we do the extra excursions. A lot of people want to do that, and we're not actually close in Namibia. Nothing is close, just to get things straight. You need to travel a couple of hours north, east, south, or west to get wherever you want to. But I mean, Etosha National Park is a great place. Swakopmund, and then Sossusvlei obviously is a beautiful place, and it's very unique to go and see the dunes and stuff like that. Namibia is probably one of the most diverse countries in Africa. Um, and it's just there's so much to see, and it's so beautiful and vast, man.
Yeah, definitely. Because like if people picture like you'll see like photos on the internet of the Gemsbuck going over like the sand dunes and all that. That
Yeah.
is like Namibia. That's those photos are taken in Namibia in one of these parks. And so to me, it's like there's a lot of opportunity. What are some of the key species that you can only find in Namibia that are on your guys' like game property, like where you're at, where your house is?
So obviously, um, where I am, most of the species here occurs in South Africa as well. But if you're looking at species from Namibia, it's endemic to Namibia. You look at the Hartmann's mountain zebra, which is fantastic to hunt up in the. I do a lot of hunting for them in the Erongo Mountains, which is absolute beautiful. It's breathtaking. It's a hard hunt. Most of the time, you get up the mountains there and you shoot a zebra. You need to skin and carry it out. Um, we obviously have the little Damara Dik Diks, which is they're just phenomenal. They're so beautiful. Um, they're endemic to Namibia, and also the black-faced impala, which you can hunt in Namibia. Obviously, unfortunately, you guys can't export them, but I mean, they're here, they're on our quota, and we can hunt them.
Yeah, it's a shame that we can't bring them back, unfortunately. And then so we'll move up from, those areas down in the southern eastern part. Let's move up to the north areas up there towards the Caprivi. Let's talk about that because that stuff is, I think, especially for somebody that's wanting to go experience a wild Africa, like,
Yeah.
you know, to me, when we hunted Babwata West, we seen hundreds, if not thousands, of buffalo almost every day. It seemed like, and then there was days that we would see upwards of 100 plus elephants. It was
Yeah.
incredible. So let's just talk about kind of what you offer there and kind of break that down for folks.
I think the Caprivi it's a very special place. It's very close to my heart. It's obviously it's full of wildlife. I tell you now, it's incredible. We offer basically mainly the main hunts will be buffalo, elephant, hippo, crocodile, um, leopard. The leopard quota in the Caprivi only in the Babwata areas we've got leopard on license, unfortunately. But yeah, uh, the buffalo hunting is great. Elephant hunting is great. We struggle to find the big tuskers like in Botswana. But the elephant hunting is phenomenal. The areas are beautiful, especially along the Kwando River. I just love that area. Towards the southern tip in the Linyanti swamps, and it curves all the way back where it becomes a Chobe again, and the Chobe obviously goes into the Zambezi. It's just a phenomenal area. Hunting red lechwe, and I believe Namibia is probably, together with Zambia, one of the only two countries that can legally hunt the red lechwe in its natural environment, which is pretty awesome, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet that you can do that now that you can't do that in Botswana anymore. Um, so also, and I mean, to me, it's like the Caprivia is very special, like you said, and I said as well. When you guys, if someone wants to go on a buffalo hunt, this is like this is a phenomenal area to go to do a buffalo hunt. There's tons of buffalo, like I said. When you do a buffalo hunt, are you doing 14-day buffalo hunts? How is like those hunts breaking down for somebody like you're gonna get up, obviously you're gonna cruise the roads, look for tracks. This is a true wild Africa tracking Cape buffalo hunt compared to what some might find within South Africa, correct?
Yeah, yeah. No, this is definitely it's a true tracking hunt in most of the areas. We do have the eastern parts along the Chobe River. There's a bit of floodplain there, so some of those areas it's almost like hunting in the Zambezi Delta. I mean, you've got these vast open plains and a lot of buffalo cross from the Chobe side into Namibia, and you hunt them that way. But it's generally about a 7 to 10 day hunt. I like to do a 10 day hunt because I don't like to pressure myself. I like to look at a lot of buffalo, and just the whole experience of following bulls, looking at different bulls, looking at herds. Yeah, I take my buffalo hunting very seriously. I love to take those old Dagger boys. It's a hard hunt. And yeah, you need to shoot straight. Buffalo hunting is it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. And then on your elephant situation, are you doing 14-day safaris, 21 days? Is that what you're kind of shooting for as far as time
Yeah,
length
so
goes?
some blocks we do a 10 day hunt, but most of them is about a 14-day safari. Yeah. The thing with the Caprivia is there's plenty of elephant cow herds, and me personally, I believe that those old big tuskers and old bulls, they tend to shy away from all the traffic. But yeah, we do get nice bulls every now and then. I mean, you're going to be looking at an average of about 40 to 55 pounds. That's what you're going to realistically look at. It's not like Botswana and some of those blocks you're going to be looking at 60 plus, or on day one walk away from a 60 pounder, which is yeah, which is quite good. But yeah, the Caprivi is just phenomenal. You'll see a lot of game, you'll see a lot of elephant, and a lot of buffalo, and it's just, yeah, it's all in all good.
Yeah, 100%. So I want to break down for people kind of the importance of like those areas, like the Babwata West, those kind of areas up in there. How are those so important to have those areas that allow hunting within the communities, within, just on the borders of parks and stuff like that? Kind of explain to people why those are important to the wildlife and the habitat.
Well, for starters, Mackenzie, if it pays, it stays. It's as simple as that in Africa. Um, these people don't like lions. They don't like elephant. If they don't have a direct income, a direct benefit from wildlife, they'll chase down the buffalo and spear them. They will poison the lions. They will kill the elephants and sell the ivory. And most of these areas is thick bush. It's so tough getting into these areas, and it's not suitable for any photographic. So what else is there? There's hunting, and hunting, it creates not only the protein side of it, it creates jobs. It creates this whole circle. And I believe that hunting is probably one of the best conservation tools out there. And without hunting, if hunting has to stop tomorrow, we would have had nothing left. It'll give it a couple of years, and there would be nothing left. and that's it's facts.
Yeah, that's the harsh reality, especially with Africa. Like here, like people, we have it a lot easier, obviously, than a lot of those people in those rural villages and stuff. And like you said, if the buffalo, if something's eating their cattle, they're killing it. Something's eating their crops, they're killing it.
Yeah.
It's like you said, it pays. If it pays, it stays type of deal. As far as like, let's talk about like camp staffing and stuff. How many people on a typical Caprivi safari do you employ during that time period or during a full season? How many people do you typically employ for just that camp?
Yeah, so it all depends on your contract, Mackenzie, but we always employ a little bit more, So according to your contract, it says, you have to have obviously a cook, 3 or 4 cleaning ladies, camp people that looking after the camp. You have to have a manager, you have to have skinners and trackers. So you're talking about 12, 15 guys from one area that you employed, which is quite good. And they've got families, so you're supporting a large chain of people from that conservancy. So yeah, it's vitally important that we do it. Otherwise, the thing in the Caprivi is that they've got a lot of crops, and so does all other conservancies in other countries. But I speak about the Caprivi because I know it. They've got a system with what they call slash and burn. So they'll get in, they'll take one area and they'll slash everything down. I'm sure you've seen it, and then they will plant. For that year, they'll plant all their mahangu, all their maize, and the next year they'll move next door and they will just slash it down. So in the Caprivi, we've got wildlife corridor areas in the conservancies. And we try to tell the people, listen here, this section here is for cattle. This section here is for to plant your crops, and this area here is for wildlife. And we try to teach them how to manage that, and because at the end of the day, hunting, it generates so much for these conservancies, and it's just so important for them to benefit out of that.
Yeah. And plus, like you said, they have families. So let's just start there. You got 15 people. And most of those guys, it seems like most of the trackers that I've been around, they have like multiple kids. It's not just one kid. They usually have several kids. And so it's like you're supporting, upwards of 100 people just out of those 15 employees. But then when it comes to doing the buffalo and when you're doing the buffalo and the elephant, especially the elephant, you are providing a ton of meat to villages. How many people do you typically think one elephant feed? How many people do you think that typically feeds?
So in a conservancy, you're talking about 1,500 average people, 1,500 people in a conservancy. But I think, in a village can consist of about anything from 35 to about 60 individuals. And we've got a roster system which we work on. So if we have 5 elephant on quota and 10 buffalo, and we've got 5 villages, this elephant will go to village number 1. Second elephant will go to village number 2. So we have this system where we just change all the time. So village number 1 gets a buffalo, village number 2 gets a hippo, village number 3 gets an elephant, because maybe they're more in the village. But it all depends on, and that's the job for the management of that conservancy. So they'll come up with a roster system and they'll say, listen, elephant goes to village number 2. Village number 3 gets a buffalo because there are not so many people in there. So they've got a good system working for them.
See, that's what I think people don't understand too, especially for the wild parts of Africa. I can't bring the meat back with me because of our U.S. fish, or USD and U.S. Fish and Wildlife and all those issues. And you're not taking all the meat home for yourself. It has to, like the rules are, the elephants have to be distributed within that conservancy to those villages. And I don't think a lot of people understand that, which I think is cool that you explain that roster system, because you're providing jobs, you're providing a bunch of meat, and you're keeping the area a wild area. Because like you said, if you weren't there or any other outfitters weren't there, honey in that area, it would just be slashed and burned. Like look at Ethiopia. To me, Ethiopia is like
Yeah.
one of those prime areas that you can look and it's like the most beautiful mountains, and it's just like farms just slowly creeping up
Yeah.
into it because they tear everything down just to plant stuff. It's
Yeah.
crazy that
And the
way.
problem,
So then
the problem
when you
is
do all your
what they don't
sorry, go ahead.
understand is if you've lost the range, you've lost everything. If you cut down a tree that's 120 years old, it doesn't grow back overnight. So that there lies the problem. If you lost the range, then you've lost that area.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it's just like Kenya. Look at Kenya. They could bring back wildlife if they had the range. They have no more range for most of Kenya
They,
because it's
they don't,
completely destroyed. Um,
yeah.
so with down in like the cattle farming areas, you do obviously do you have a quota system on how you work? Like you'll hunt X amount of kudos on this guy's property. How do you work the low fence cattle farm hunting down there?
Yeah, so per hunter coming into Namibia, you're only allowed to take two of a species at that particular hunt. But I try to manage my areas. So I've got like 15 ranches around me where I hunt. So I'll say, for example, I'll hunt two kudu from this one and three from that one. So I've got a little roster system myself where I will hunt X amount of kudu in this or that area because it's not good to just over hunt in an area, and we've got so much kudu and such good kudu here. So it'll be a waste if one does that.
Yeah. How do you work your leopard system down there within that cattle farming areas?
So the Namibian MET, the Ministry of Environment and Tourism, they issue us about 250 tags a year of leopard tags. So, you can per company you will get one maybe two tags per year, but mostly one. So, you will have a farmer will have a farm of approximately about 5,000 hectares, which is about 10 or 12,000 acres, and he'll have one leopard tag for that area. And those areas are mainly cattle areas. And you get these cattle raiders all over Namibia. And, if it wasn't for hunting, those farmers would have killed all of those leopard. And they're beautiful leopard. And I tell you now, Mackenzie, though, those leopard, they get so big from eating beef, you can't believe. Um, it's incredible. But yeah, yeah, we've got a strange. It's a system that it works, but it a long time ago it was easy to get a leopard permit in Namibia. You can apply for a leopard permit and you can hunt a leopard. But nowadays it's very strictly monitored, and you have one area where you can focus on for that tag, or two areas where you can hunt on. But they're big properties, and there's so many leopards. I do most of my leopards up in the northwestern parts of Namibia, and oh no, there's so many leopard, and it's one of the nicer hunts. I love hunting leopard.
Yeah, leopard hunting's awesome. My question for you is going to be is how many, like, let's just say 112,000 acre area, how many leopards do you think inhabit one area or one ranch?
I believe there can be up to about three different males, crisscrossing the boundary of that ranch. We had camera footage where we have three different males eating at the same bait, where obviously the dominant one stays there and fend off the other ones. Not long ago, there was on our professional hunters group. We've got like a WhatsApp group. A guy shared a picture, and I think there were like five leopard on there, and they're not only cubs. There's sub-adult ones, there's adult leopards. It's incredible. So I think but that was in the Caprivi when they did a bit of research. They said every 12 kilometers 12 square kilometers will be a leopard. So I think in Namibia it probably is a little bit smaller than that in some areas. Some areas like in the desert will be much bigger for those cats. They walk a long ways. water is very scarce, and yeah, territories are bigger.
So that's something that was kind of interested in learning personally. It was like how many leopards will inhabit one of those areas there, because when we were even in the Caprivi, there was a leopard female. She literally killed a kudu cow, like literally within 100 yards of us driving into camp. Like we were pulling down the main, and it was right in the middle of the road. It was just like,
Yeah,
it's pretty wild. And and a lot of people don't understand. Like leopards are hard for people to really study a whole ton, because they're primarily a night active animal. It's not like a lion. Like you see a lot more daylight lions in areas where there's lions than you do leopards. We've seen a daylight leopard in Zambia, but you always see leopard tracks. Like I don't know if I've ever been to a place that we didn't. We've seen them in Ethiopia, Cameroon. Like we've seen leopard tracks everywhere. So I think leopards are a lot more abundant than people realize, just
yeah,
because of how secretive and elusive they are and good at hiding. Um, and now this is another personal question. Will, like a male lion, he will kill a lot of cubs if he gets into a
yeah.
pride and a new dominant male comes in. Will a leopard male kill a set of cubs?
I believe, yeah, I believe if it's not his own cubs, I believe he will definitely kill them. I mean, they're all in competition with each other. I mean, if a leopard will find a cheetah, he'll try to kill it. If a spotted hyena finds a leopard, he'll try to go for it. They're all in competition. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's what I was just kind of wondering, is if the males, like if a different male came in and seen a female with cubs, he would try to kill those. Like, 'cause it would make sense that he would, because lions do it all the time, and so do brown bears here in North
Yeah.
America. They wreak havoc on the cubs. Um, so let's hear some stories. Like, I know you have to have a couple good ones. Do you have any close calls with buffalo? Like, let's hear like one or two good stories from you.
Yeah, so there's so many good stories. Mm, when was that? It was about 4 years ago. I've hunted the Caprivi for a long time, and I haven't had any close calls until that last like 2 years. It just happened like that. And, I remember we were hunting buffalo up in the Bogota East area. We were actually kind of struggling. We saw a lot of herds, but the Dhaka boys were probably somewhere. But that one morning, it was a cold winter's morning. We drove down what we called the Upper Horseshoe Road. We drove down there, and we cut the tracks. I believe it was like 7 bulls. We followed those bulls, and we came closer. We could see them feeding around. They had their heads in the grass there, so difficult to see. But they're all big, mature old Dhaka boys. So we were just sitting down, having a look see, and from the left hand side came a beautiful, smooth buffalo. Just a beast of a bull tank. Big body, big chin lap. Just smooth in that sun. It just absolutely fantastic. The one Kevin Robinson will be, very proud of. But anyway, so this bull is probably about 12, 15 yards from us, just feeding slowly from left to right. And I had a client, I believe he shot a 375. So he pulled the shot, but he shot the bull obviously a little bit far back. And bull took off. Wasn't time for a second shot. We kind of just waited a little bit, and for the dust to settle, because there were 7 bulls together. So there was lots of dust and a lot of trees breaking and crashing as the other bulls departed. So we waited like 5 or 6 minutes and also, and then we went to where the buffalo is actually standing when it got hit by the bullet. And I tell you now, I kid you not, Mackenzie, it wasn't 20 yards from where we started tracking. I just saw my tracker dive to the right hand side, and here comes this bull flat out. It already dropped its head. That's how close it was. I just pushed my double in the direction of the bull, and I was just getting that aim point reticle right to where the buffalo is. And I pulled the trigger, and I actually shot him right on the top of the boss, because he had his head down. And that managed to knock him down. So obviously we dove under the bush there to our right hand side, and I was actually lying down. And as the buffalo was struggling getting up, I shot it like behind the ear from the side. So that was probably the closest call I had with buffalo. Um, they just so tough. I mean, not long after that one, we've hunted with guys from the states, and he shot a buffalo a little bit far back again, and there were about four bulls together. So they were just milling around, They didn't know what happened, and I couldn't make out which was the bull that got hit. And so obviously three bulls ran to the left and one bull ran to the right. So we immediately knew which one was the wounded bull. So we started following this bull. It was late in the season. The bush wasn't so thick. So we could see the bull standing about 25 yards looking at us. And I got the hunter next to me, and the buffalo just bellowed and he came in. They do this grunt. So if a buffalo goes like, shit's about to get real. Um, Obviously the hunter took a shot at the bull. My first shot, I'll send you a picture. I kid you not, I shot him between his eyes with the 470. He did not even flinch. He did not even flinch. He kept on coming straight to us. The second one, I put in the brisket, and that changed his direction. And, from later on discovering that the bullet went over the brain, because actually he was running with the nose up like that. So I was just missing the brain like with a couple of inches. But it just shows you how tough they are. He did not even blink. He just kept on coming straight in.
Yeah, dude, that's wild. Like, I don't know. Like, I've seen a lot more charge videos, it seems like, this year. Um, and it's just like some of these guys, and like how you're saying, it's just like blink of an eye instant. It's just like you got to be on top of things to be able to shoot very well, or things can get sideways.
Yeah.
Have you had any issues with leopards at all?
Yeah, I had one issue with a cat. It was a problem leopard, but it was a long time ago. Um, the ranch next door got a few cattle taken by leopard, and obviously we got a PAC permit to go and hunt this cat, and it's in the Kalahari. Yeah, you can actually track them, so it's quite nice. So we've tracked this leopard, and the following morning after it fed, usually leopards don't go far. So we tracked it with a couple of trackers, and we started seeing that this leopard is starting to run away from us now, because it's starting to move faster and faster. It went into a very thick blackthorn thicket, and we obviously circled around, and the tracks weren't going out on the other side. So, the only way to get the leopard is to go in now. I had a 12-bore shotgun with me with nickel-plated buckshot, and as I went in, this cat charged. First, I couldn't see from where he was coming. I just heard this horrible sound. So I pulled off a shot. Luckily, the cat turned and it took off. I managed to hit it, some on the back, some pellets in the back leg, and the stomach side. And then obviously now you've got a wounded leopard. Um, we followed that cat for probably about another couple of hundred yards, and again into this thick blackthorn thicket. And again, I had my tracker. What we do in a situation like that, you'll be ready, and you have the tracker throw like a piece of stick or something into that bush, and sure enough, this cat came bolting out, and it grabbed hold of the tracker first, and then it grabbed hold of my leg. But luckily, from the side, the guy shot the leopard a little bit far back, but managed to hit a double lung shot. And it wasn't long after that the cat started flopping around, and we're putting a final shot into him. But yeah, close calls. And I think with leopard, it's very difficult, because that'll be the one, if you hunt dangerous game enough, and especially leopard, that's probably one that will get to you at some point, because they're just extremely fast, and it happens like in a blink of an eye, and you better shoot straight, otherwise there will be blood.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. It's like those like leopards are freaking it's way fast. It's a lot smaller target than obviously a buffalo brain. When you're trying to brain it, it's small, but it's not it's not a tank coming at you. It's like a mini missile coming at you.
Yeah,
Oh man,
yeah.
that's freaking wild. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
and they
I
they
couldn't
don't
imagine.
run from the
I,
spot, is it? They come from a couple of yards. They'll just pounce on you. So it makes it difficult, and then you have trackers, you have your client, you'll have a cameraman, whatever, whoever is there. So you've got a lot of people to think about. It's not just shoot a leopard. When it's on top of somebody, it's a dangerous situation. And there's I'm more afraid of the client's rifle in my back than the leopard in front. So one's got to be very, very careful when following, especially a wounded leopard.
yeah, I was gonna say that's what I would say. I'd be more worried about getting shot by somebody else in some of those situations where it's just like so fast and just everyone doesn't have time to register that
Yeah,
someone else is standing in between them and the leopard. That is
yeah,
wild. Man, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I couldn't imagine it getting chomped on by a leopard. Oh, that'd be rough.
oh, yeah.
But I really do appreciate you taking the I do appreciate you taking the time this afternoon, this evening, your side to hop on and talk. It's been fun. Is there anything you want to leave the folks with? Any last, kind of information, like any words of encouragement to go on a safari? Maybe leave with telling people how to get in contact with you if they want to talk about booking a hunt. Kind of, what do you got there?
Yeah, well, yeah. I think when getting in contact with us, it's easy. You just go to www.divansafaris.com. We've got all our info, WhatsApp numbers, emails, everything is on there on the whole website. And yeah, send me an email. Let's chat. I mean, if it's chatting about your next safari or just normal chit chat about hunting, you're more than welcome. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to hunt with whoever. It's I always said, and then whenever you finish with a hunt here, you always try to go and make enough money to come back. So it's not something you just do one time and it's out of your system. You'll always try to get to come back to Africa, and especially hunting buffalo. I always say people always come back for buffalo.
Yeah, that's a fact. I agree with you there. Well, I appreciate it, Devin. I don't want to take up
Thank
too
you.
much more of your time tonight. I know it's getting late that side. I appreciate you hopping on. I'll put some links in the show notes for people to find your Instagram and your website so they can get a hold of you. And I appreciate you hopping on. We'll do it again another time. And I look forward to coming over there early next year, and let's do a hunt next year. And that's gonna be super exciting. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, thanks, Mackenzie. Appreciate it, and yeah, thank you for having me. And yeah, all the best, mate. And we'll chat soon, eh?